Hi, I'm Justin King with New America, and I'm here with the lead researchers and authors on a really exciting new project called Mapping Financial Opportunity. Terry Friedline from the University of Kansas and Matt Despard from the University of Michigan. Terry, tell us a little bit about what this project is. What is Mapping Financial Opportunity? What can people expect to see?
So the basic question that we started with on this project was, does it matter if you have a financial service in your community, a bank, a credit union, a payday lender, for your financial health? Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to develop a project that was able to address this question in a few different ways, taking multiple slices of this question and being able to put the evidence together to address this question. So we looked at data from the FDIC, a National Credit Union Administration, business data on payday lenders, located them on maps to look visually at where these services were located.
And the end product is a map for the whole country that includes all different kinds of financial service providers and where they exist everywhere in America, pretty much?
Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere.
And so the purpose of the project is not just to show people what their neighborhood looks like from a financial services perspective, though that's an element of it, but also then to start to learn about the impacts that has on individuals' financial well-being in the community and then the community as a whole. Matt, you guys have done some analysis and some early reports on data you were able to analyze through this project. What are some of the key takeaways that people will find when they look at the reports you guys have written?
Sure. I think, first of all, we wanted to answer the question, does place matter? Does it matter where you live in terms of your access to financial services? And the answer is unequivocally yes, it absolutely does. And it matters in a lot of different ways. So first of all, it matters in terms of the region of the country. And we saw a really distinct pattern with respect to the South and the West, or what a lot of people refer to as the Sun Belt part of the country, where a lot of people are moving, where there's a lot of population growth compared to other regions of the country, so the Snow Belt and the Rust Belt. And the key difference that we found is that in the Snow Belt, in the Rust Belt communities and regions of our country, there were far more banks and credit unions that outnumbered alternative financial service providers like payday lenders than was the case in the South and the West.
For families that are living in those different communities, what are the different financial impacts? What are the different outcomes for people that are in those environments?
Well, I think one big, broad takeaway from our research is that when you look at that relative mix, that ratio of banks to alternative financial service providers, where those banks really outnumber those alternative financial service providers, low-income families simply do better. And so the low-income families are more sensitive to that mix of financial services in their communities than middle and upper-income families.
One of the things that really has struck me about this is right off the bat, one of the key findings I think you came up with is that lowest income households that live in a community where banks significantly outnumber alternative financial service providers, not just they're able to save, which is obviously incredibly important, and able to manage their debts, but they also feel better about their financial lives by a really significant margin.
One important distinction between banks and alternative financial service providers, so Justin, you mentioned savings and saving for emergencies, is banks offer savings accounts. Alternative financial services don't provide savings products. They offer certain services like check cashing and bill payments, remittances, short-term loans like payday loans, but they don't offer savings accounts or some type of savings product. So that's one important distinction between the two types of financial services to pay attention to.
Terry, were there data points in this experience that really jumped out at you as surprising or that contradicted some of your hypotheses coming into the development of the project?
So one thing that we found was that the locations of financial services, mattered for the health outcomes, as Matt was mentioning, of lowest income households.
Right.
So, having, a higher number of banks and credit unions in your community, relates to being able to save for emergencies, to pay your monthly bills. The number of payday lenders and alternative financial services, negatively impacts those financial health outcomes. There doesn't appear, to be any effect on highest income households.
So you guys have, put this tool out there into the world. It's on the web for anybody to use it. Who do you hope engages with it, and how do you hope they engage with it?
Well, certainly we hope that policymakers, can use it to identify, where in their communities and their constituencies people are accessing financial services and where there might be gaps. As one kind of visual look at the financial services. For consumer advocacy groups who are on the ground and in the communities, the coalitions and nonprofit organizations who are living and working there, this gives them a better tool to understand how they can advocate and organize within their communities to give residents the financial products and services that they're asking for and that they need.